Welcome to Ready Set Virtual. In this video, we are going to walk through upgrading Veeam Cloud Connect from version 12.3 right up to 13.0.2. As you can see here in the Veeam Service Provider console, I already have this upgraded to version 9.2, and it is showing me that there is an available update for my Cloud Connect server. You can see that it is currently running on version 12.3.2, 3617, and the update that is available is 13.0.2.29. Now, I'm not going to run the upgrade through the service provider console. We're going to take it slowly and actually go through it on the Windows Server side. If we take a look of what is occurring and why we need to make sure that we are at the latest version, aside from having fixes and vulnerabilities and that are being put into the updated version, there is also communication issues that can occur. Now, if we take a look at another VBR server that is running version 12.3.2, this is currently running a backup copy job that is going to my Cloud Connect server. As we can see, the Cloud Connect server is sitting here and we are connected under our service providers. And then if we take a look, we can see in backup repositories that the backup repository here in the cloud is shown as well, which is connected to that tenant. So this is all working fine at the moment for version 12. But if we go to a newer version, for example, if we have a look at version 13 here that I've got running, this is also currently running on 13.0.2.29. Now, this is actually my Veeam software appliance that's currently running. So this is running another server. However, this is the console version, which is on a Windows box for the moment. So if we go ahead and go in and attempt to add a service provider, now we'll do the same one that the other server on the version 12 is running. If we go ahead and add it here, let's just say we are going to allow Veeam Backup and Replication to be managed by the service provider. Let's attempt, and we'll continue, accept the key, and attempt to log in. As soon as it tries to connect, it will automatically come back and tell you your service provider uses an unsupported Cloud Connect platform version that is not compatible with your product version. So this is version 13 trying to connect to version 12. Now, if we look at the Cloud Connect server, we can confirm that here by down the bottom it says build 12.3.2 3617. So in order to move through the process of the update, you need to ensure that you are running the latest version of the Veeam Service Provider console, because the newer version there is actually able to see version 12s as well. But if you go to a higher version then of Veeam Backup and Replication Cloud Connect, or any of Veeam Backup and Replication that is newer than the Service Provider console, the Service Provider console isn't going to see it. So you just need to make sure that you have that upgraded first. That's a fairly simple upgrade to go through, as it is a management layer for orchestrating the actual servers underneath. It has very little impact. Now, when we go ahead and do the upgrade here for Cloud Connect, we just need to do a couple of steps first. If this is a virtual machine that you're running, make sure you are taking your snapshot first before you run through the upgrade process. Also make sure that you have all your prerequisites so you can go through and have a look at your backup infrastructure, make sure that everything is online, whether that is your backup repositories that you're running. You might have WAN accelerators or any of the other components, such as proxies as well. So just make sure that those are all currently online and working. And then also just make sure that you are, before running the upgrade, that you have done your configuration backup. So if you go up to your file and then configuration backup, you can go ahead and either do it around your scheduled time, or you can do a backup now, which will take a copy. Now, I've already done this just before the recording of this video, so this is fine. I will go ahead and start the upgrade. Now, you also need to make sure that all of your jobs have completed successfully and that you don't have any outstanding jobs that are still running. If that is the case, then you can place your server into maintenance mode, which will allow any existing jobs that are running to finish what they're doing first, but it will not let any other backup jobs run. So you'll be able to find that time that as soon as the last one has finished, you then have a window that you're able to work in due to the maintenance mode. So before you start your backup, make sure that you have taken your snapshot if it's a virtual machine. Make sure you're taking your config backup. Make sure that all your jobs have completed or are close to completing beforehand. And then you should be right to go ahead and place it in maintenance mode. Now, it'll tell you here that it will, placing Veeam Cloud Connect infrastructure into maintenance mode will prevent new running backups, backup copies, and replication tasks from starting. However, all already running tasks will be allowed to finish. So if we go ahead and place it into maintenance mode, we just wait a moment, and then we'll see the icon around Cloud Connect here change to red cross with Cloud Connect in maintenance mode. So now at this point, if everything is ready to go, we can go ahead and close the console. And once that's closed, we can go and open up our ISO. From here, we can go ahead and double click on Setup. And after a moment, this will bring up the splash screen and we can proceed with the upgrade. Okay, once the splash screen is there, we will see that it is showing Veeam Backup and Replication 13. And then we'll click the upgrade button. This will kick off the installation files and we'll be able to work through the wizard in performing this upgrade. Now it will need to install the latest Microsoft.NET that is required. In this case it is 8.0.27. So you just go ahead and install your prerequisite. Once .NET has installed, you can then proceed to clicking on the Upgrade Veeam Backup and Replication server. This will then start the setup wizard that will then take you through the process. Once the wizard has started, we can go ahead and read the license agreement, and then we can go ahead and click I accept. Here we are able to add our license if we have the right license already installed. This will just be all the details are here. However, you can go ahead and browse and install your license file if you have a new one. Also make sure that you have your configurations enabled for what you need. So if you want to update your license automatically, part of your usage reporting, if you are a service provider or a reseller, this is an option for you. And also to receive proactive support if required. So we go ahead and click next. After it validates your license, you'll then be brought over into the next window. Once the system configuration check has run through, it will check for missing components and then also start to install and enable those components. In this instance, we've come across that a reboot is required because of the Microsoft Visual C++ redistribution package is required. So we will go ahead and we'll reboot. After you have rebooted your server, you will then be able to go through the same process again of starting the ISO by loading it and opening up the setup file wizard. Now, once you get in there, you can click on the upgrade, look at the EULA and accept, and then move on to the next phase of applying your license. And this will then go into doing the configuration checkup and checking those missing files. Once that is completed, it will then bring up a prompt to advise you that there is a number of deprecated items and removed items between version 12 to version 13. what you'll see, and we'll talk through them here, is a number of deprecated items. There are 4 of them that have been deprecated in version 13, which means that they will more than likely be removed in the next version, in the next major version. So that is the restore point based retention for newly created backup jobs. So this will mean that you'll now need to set a time-based retention if you were previously using restore point based retention. So you might have had 31 restore points. You could create all those within a day, or you would have your 31 restore points per day, which is the current and will continue to be used in future versions. This is only for newly created jobs as opposed to the existing jobs. So if you do have an existing job that is running with a restore point based retention, then you'll be able to continue using that for the time being. But do keep in mind that this is going to disappear within the next version or so. It's the same for the next one, which is reverse incremental retention for newly created jobs again. So this is for reverse incremental. So as opposed to forward incremental, which is continuing on. This is where your backups are the newest and latest incremental backup is your full copy. So this will now be removed, and it will be your forward incremental, where you should be using synthetic fulls or active fulls to be able to create your full copy when on your storage. So then it will then combine all of those into that one file for you in that retention process. The reverse incremental, again, is for newly created jobs only, and will still exist for existing jobs. But this, again, will disappear in the next version. Then there is the storing as a single storage backup format. This is where all of your virtual machines, when you do a single backup, if you've got a job that does 4 or 5 different machines, all of those virtual machines will be in the single VBK or VDI file, as opposed to individual per virtual machine. Moving forward, it will now be in version 13, it will be a multiple files for 1 per virtual machine when you run your backup. So you'll still have a single job, but each one will be split into a virtual machine file. Then the 4th one here is the Active Directory based authentication for new Veeam Cloud Connect tenants. So now it will be individual as opposed to a overall Active Directory account that would be used. So it will be split out into individual Active Directories authentication for each tenant. Then the removed portions here, there's the Universal Application Item Recovery Wizard that has now been removed. The restore by double-clicking on VBK VBM file for Windows Explorer. So this is where if you open up your C or D drive, you will have where your backups are located. If you double clicked on your VBK file, it would then pop up allowing you to do a restore. This has now been removed and not available anymore. And then the 3rd and final is the burning of recovery media to CD, DVD, or Blu-ray disc. So those optical media options. Moving forward, it would be either creating an ISO or a USB to be able to boot from. But yeah, the optical media has been removed. So now while we wait for the upgrade to complete, once this is done, we will then move into doing the upgrade of each individual component, being either the WAN accelerators, proxies, repositories, or any of those additional components that you would deploy within your environment to do additional tasks. Once we finish the upgrade, we'll get the finish splash screen show up, and from there we will have a clear screen here. We can go ahead and open up for the first time our Veeam Backup and Replication console. You can see that it's a new icon. However, everything is almost fairly similar, that you will receive your splash screen here. Now, in this case, the first thing that you're presented with a little bit differently is that it's asking you which backup server that you'd like to connect to. Now, this is generally because you might have a HA set up and you might be selecting a different server depending on the failed state at the time. In this instance, though, we are just going to connect to the local host because that is the only server that is existing at this point in time. If we go ahead and go connect, it will then ask us for our username and password to log in with. You can put in a separate username and password depending on how your setup is, if you have different backup administrators. Otherwise, in this instance, I'm using the local administrator just for this account, so we can just go ahead and go sign in as the current user. When we open up for the first time, we will see the new console with the new look that they have for version 13. Depending on what you selected during the installation, if you chose to automatically upgrade the components, these will have been upgraded automatically, and there will be no splash screen to show those components. However, if you do choose to manually install later on with ticking the box, then it will mean that you'll receive a wizard that will pop up and give you details about which components need to be updated. These components are such as your proxies, your WAN accelerators, and your repositories. If they are out of date as well and you do not use the wizard when it first pops up, you will receive a out of date option here. Now that we've got this running, we can go ahead and just check a few things to make sure that at a base level, everything is working as it should be. We can just go in here and Cloud Connect and have a look to see what has changed and what is available to us. If we select our tenants, we should be able to see a list of them. The same number, 4 tenants that we had previously are still there. We're also able to see our Cloud Gateway and see that that has also been updated, and also the gateway pools. So from here, we should be able to take this out of maintenance mode, but what we will first check is heading over to the Veeam Service Provider console. We can see that the server itself for Cloud Connect has now updated to version 13.0.2.29, and we can also see that that agent version has updated as well. So everything is looking okay from here. What we can do is head on over to our VBR server, which is still version 12, and just double check that we are able to still be connected to our cloud repository. If we just go here and go rescan, this should come back all successful. And when it does, this means that that the Cloud Connect connection is operating as it should be. For version 12, we can see that right here. You can go ahead and run a test job once this is completed, or alternatively, just go and check that you can browse the repository. We'll just wait for that synchronization to finish. Once that synchronization is completed, we can then go ahead and close and just move on back over to home and go to our cloud storage. And from there, we should be able to view all of our files that are currently sitting up in the cloud backup. And we can see that there, and there's the full copy. That is the last copy that was there. So from there, we can now go and check on our version 13 and try and connect that into Cloud Connect, into our service provider side. So if we come back in here and go back up infrastructure, and if we open up the service providers and go add service provider, we go ahead and put in the login details. And we'll just say allow this Veeam Backup and Replication installation to be managed by another service provider. Click next. And we'll get the certificate validated. We will put the username credentials in and click apply. Now, as we can see, we are not receiving that failed state immediately, which takes us over and shows us our backup repository. Under backup storage, we were given the cloud repositories, and we can see that it's for repository version 13 with capacity of 100 gig, and there's no WAN accelerators. So once we're happy with that, we can just click apply, and this will go through saving the service provider details, saving the cloud resources, and updating the remote management settings in the VSA itself. So once this processes, this will then have configured our service provider, and then we're able to move it on. Now, once that's finished, we're able to complete that. This will then go through and do a rescan of the repositories automatically for us, and updating our local cache in case we have backups that are already there. However, this is a new account, so there won't be any. Once we go ahead, we can then go to our backup repositories, and we can see that version 13 there is there with our cloud, and it's connected to our host, which is our Cloud Connect server. So we should be able to see over here our tenants, and that's this one tenant here. From that point, we can then go back to our service provider console, confirm the account is there, have a look at version 13, and the discovery should show us the discovered computer, which will also be applying the management status. Once that's finished, then our servers are fully configured, and that is the upgrade process for the Veeam Cloud Connect from version 12 through to version 13. Thank you.